what's going on, guys? Out of the Park podcast. Today I'm here with Stevie Glum, and Stevie is my roommate's girlfriend. It's pretty funny, but so Stevie, kind of want to get into like what you do as a profession, because obviously you're 22 and out of college and older than us. So
I am a bit older than you guys. So I'm a special effects makeup artist for film and TV. I started doing it when I was like 11, self-taught from YouTube, and then I went on to go to school for it. It wasn't a traditional college, it was a trade school in Manhattan Financial District. It was a 7-month program. That was every day. It was a nice long commute, but it was really worth it, and I think I gained a lot from that experience.
So you only went to, it was only 7 months total?
7 months total.
That's all you had to do for it?
Well, it was 5 days a week, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
That's crazy.
So it was a lot, but I don't regret it a single bit.
Yeah. I mean, so getting to Manhattan, I know we had talked about it a little bit earlier, but the travel-wise, you traveled a train and everything, correct?
Yeah, so I'm from Long Island, so it was about an hour and 15-minute train ride in, and then like a 30-minute subway, like including waiting times and stuff, and then a 5-minute walk. So in total, probably about 2 hours travel there and 2 hours travel back.
That's crazy. Wow. So what kind of got you into what made you decide that this is what you wanted to do as a career?
I think I've always really enjoyed, I saw one YouTube video around Halloween when I was 11, and I was like, oh, I'm going to do that. So I bought the worst supplies from Party City and kind of went from there. And then the supplies are very expensive for special effects and all types of makeup. So I worked my way up as I got older into getting more expensive supplies and teaching myself. And in 11th grade, when people were starting to take the SAT and apply to schools, I was like, I do think college is great and that I would have benefited from it. I think everyone does. But it wouldn't have gotten me where I needed to be. Mm-hmm. So I had to make the hard decision for myself that a trade school would be better. And I could always go back to college if I needed to or thought that I needed it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I kind of on the fence of whether college is benefit. Obviously I think it's beneficial, but at the same time, I think you can do so much more with starting your life off with a career, just making money right out of the bat yeah. Anyway.
No, I absolutely agree. And I think for me, especially all of my friends, everyone around me went to college. I think just the experience of kind of being responsible for yourself. I always tell people especially if you go away to school, you're not with your family, you have to remember to buy toilet paper and stuff when you run out, because your parents and your family isn't doing it for you. So I think it kind of teaches you how to grow up a little bit.
Yeah. So do you travel a lot for makeup and everything?
I do, because I am on Long Island. Not a lot of filming happens in Long Island. It's quite expensive, so I feel like I most of the time work in Brooklyn or Manhattan, and a lot in Jersey.
Oh wow. So is it what's is New Jersey the furthest you've had to travel for it, or?
No, I flew out to Texas. I was flown out to Texas last May for a little knife slasher film, which was a lot of fun.
Was it, so after your whole 7-month program and everything, was it hard getting into the industry of makeup, or?
Yes and no. I graduated in June of 2022, and I took that summer off to work a regular job and get some money, because it is expensive. And in this industry, a lot of the jobs that you do in the beginning are unpaid. You have to build up your resume, your portfolio, and everything. So I knew that I would be spending a lot of money out of pocket, especially on not just supplies, but travel to get there. So I worked a regular job, and then one of my good friends that I went to school with, she got a film opportunity and was able to bring on an assistant. So both of our first ever films we did together, which was a lot of fun and a great experience. And then from there, I just applied to a couple here and there, and then after that, it was a lot of word of mouth. Especially working on student films. These students are just passing your name around. There's so many students, so I feel like I got my way in with a good group of people and got a lot of opportunities from that.
Yeah. So it was kind of just at the beginning, it was kind of just believing in yourself and putting money towards yourself to know that you are going to succeed and everything.
Absolutely. It was really difficult, and I still struggle with it sometimes because it's not consistent. I'm not working every day or every week. And sometimes the pay sucks. Sometimes people still offer me jobs that are unpaid, which, like, you have to gauge whether or not it's worth it or if you can do favors for someone. But at the same time, you gotta kind of stand your ground and know what you're worth, because it is expensive to do, and it's not a hobby. It is my career. I have bills to pay. Everyone has bills to pay. So you just kind of gotta gauge whether or not it's worth it.
So what's like been I guess I would say, like, the most famous person you've ever worked with?
There's a couple of different answers for that. I'd say, like, most well-known, I just did a trailer for a Bloodborne marathon for KAI CENAT. That was a lot of fun. It was a one-day shoot. It was a couple hours. I think we did 3 hours of makeup for them to film for only, like, 3 or 4 hours in total, which was crazy. And then the removal took, like, 2 hours. It was a lot. But then I did a short film it was a student thesis film for Martin Scorsese's daughter, Francesca, who's an absolute sweetheart. And I've done some, like, music videos here and there and some commercial shoots.
Wow. That's crazy, meeting Kai. I feel like, I mean, he's pretty well known nowadays and everything. Was it fun working for him?
It was a lot of fun. And the entire crew, I was brought on by another makeup artist, Grace, who's extremely talented and such a sweetheart. And it's so funny because, like, we didn't personally know each other. We just knew of each other, and we always referred each other to jobs. But she needed an assistant, so I hopped on with her. And it was my first time meeting her. But the entire concept was really cool. And the fact that he does these trailers for these YouTube marathons, I think is... And it's crazy because, like, it is a lot of money and a lot of effort to put into something like that to only come out with a 2.5-minute video. And it took 45 people to get it done. Wow. Which was nuts.
So, like, on average, how long does it take to actually, like, apply all the makeup and everything?
It definitely depends on what is needed. I feel like that's a question I often get from, like, a director or producer when they're reaching out to me. And it really depends on what's needed. Like, that, for one of the characters for the KAI CENAT video, he had 28 individual hand prosthetics, 2 eye prosthetics, a wig, a mustache, and a beard install, which took a long time because it's not just, it's glue. You gotta let it dry. You gotta paint it, and it's a pain. But things can take 5 minutes to apply, and they can take up to 4 hours. I've like Planet of the Apes. That process took like 8 hours.
Oh, wow.
It really depends on the quality of materials you have and what you're trying to get done.
Wow, that's crazy. 8 hours gotta take a lot of, like, focus and everything like that.
Yes.
Has there ever been a time where you've, like, messed up?
Absolutely. I think it's, you always have to take accountability and, like, know sometimes when you take on too much. But I feel like it's also a lot of, everyone has to be held accountable. So, like, if I'm given 45 minutes for a makeup look and we are running behind on time, makeup and, like, wardrobe often gets pushed and saying, like, oh, you only have 20 minutes instead. Which then I'm not doing my best job because I'm rushing. So, like, I should be able to get it done in 20 minutes, but that's not what I was prepared for. So I feel like there's a little bit of issues with the entire thing. It's like, you do have to cut corners, but then you also have to, like, expect to get not the best quality when you're taking away.
Wow. What's been, like, the coolest thing you've, like, applied? Like, has there been, like, one thing that's, like, really stood out to you that you're like, oh, wow, like, I like how this looked, like, this was really fun to do, everything like that?
It was honestly probably the two that I'm thinking of, like, for actual application wise, was from school. One was a final project, and they gave us a prosthetic, and they're like, you just have to create a character with this. And it was a dragon prosthetic that I made into a gargoyle instead, because that hasn't really been done that much. And that was entire, like, body paint, bald cap, a couple different face prosthetics, and it was a lot of work, but that one I really enjoyed. And I like that I got creative with it and didn't go standard dragon like everyone else was going. And then the other one was a prosthetic, the first ever silicone prosthetic I made myself. I had to sculpt it, mold it, run it. It was a whole process. It took a couple weeks, but that one came out really well that I enjoyed.
Wow. No, I mean, it definitely seems like the whole process of doing all this just takes so much time. And, like, I mean, like I said earlier, you gotta have patience. I don't think I could ever do anything like that. I just like lose like so much like patience when it comes to doing stuff for so long. Like you said 8 hours, like that's something I could never do. I could not keep focused for 8 straight hours of just doing all that.
Well, it definitely helps. The only time that I don't feel as motivated to get something done is if I'm stressed out or like not enjoying myself, but that's very rare because I do love what I do. And I think that's why I really do enjoy the industry, is that it's a terrible industry to work in. Pays like crap. The standard day is 12 hours. It's a long time, and it's a lot of effort for very little payout, but you have to enjoy what you do to be there, because no one's making you do that. No one's in it for the money. So everyone genuinely enjoys themselves and what they do, which I think is really refreshing, because how often do you see that in a job where like after an 11 or 12 hour 14-hour day, the people are still cracking jokes and having a good time and ready to be up in 9 hours to do it again.
Yeah. No, I mean, I guess I've been more of like, I'd rather make more money than enjoy my job. And that's just something I've always like just been a firm believer in. Like, I'd rather work a job that I hate for like 12 hours a day, as long as I'm making like the top dollar type thing. But I mean, I guess you're kind of on like the opposite side, where you're enjoying your job a lot. And I mean, obviously the pay's not as good, but there's got to be like a big upside on what you can make as you progress forward, correct?
Absolutely. And I am on the side where like I enjoy my job, where I'm okay right now with the money that I am making, but I also have 3 other jobs right now to make up for it. So, you know, it is a balance, and I wouldn't be doing all of this at once if I didn't love and see this going forward in the future. You know, so I do see this. I plan on going out to LA. That's usually where the money is for this type of little niche job. New York is kind of deceiving because it's where dreams come true and everything, but I often find that the budget isn't what it should be. You know, everyone comes to New York with a dream and a backpack, which is how you make it work. But I feel like I don't know. I feel like there's not as much money into it as there is passion. It's a lot of passion and little money, which is fine, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I would have thought that like New York would be like a big spot where a lot of people are like filming different things, just because it's so well known, and it always seems like there's some sort of like movie that's coming out of New York. So I kind of thought, like, originally I was like thinking like, okay, New York's probably one of the better places to be when it comes for that, because I feel like a lot of people film in there. But I mean, LA also is like one of the pretty much the movie capital, so it's like
I think New York is also just very expensive. So like all the filming that like happens in New York is happening in Connecticut or Jersey. You know, it's people are traveling because the land is cheaper to film at, where you can find churches or like apartments available to film at that are a lot cheaper. So, and also like the bigger like production companies and clients in New York kind of already have their team made. So they're not ever really sourcing out new crew members unless it's like last minute, like desperate. So it's kind of like you really got to work your way in, and it is a lot of knowing people, which I feel like is a lot of industries and a lot of jobs is you have to get in with the right people.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think definitely like the biggest thing to have in life is connections.
Absolutely.
And, like I just think like the more connections you have in your life, the better off you'll be. Because like if you know what, like, so say like, well, for you, like say you know like a big film director, it would be like, I feel like it would, just because you have that connection, it would be a little bit easier to like get on the set and do the makeup and everything. So I think just having like connection and getting out and like meeting a ton of people, like at the end of the day, you don't know who knows who. Like for our podcast, like, for an example, is like I'll be on like TikTok live, like going through like different people, being like, okay, they have a good following, like why not have them on or something. But then I'll find like most recently, like I had someone where he didn't have that big of a following, but like I liked what he was, like his videos, everything like that, and it ended up he knows like a guy that does work for this bigger guy, so he kind of just like is trying to hook us up with that. So I just think the connections part of everything in life is just the big thing that you need to know. And I think that's one of the top things you need in order to succeed in life, is knowing people. Like
Absolutely.
like you can't just sit in like your room and everything and be like, okay, I want to do this. You kind of have to know someone that's already in there and like everything like that just to be able to get ahead of like other people that are fighting for the same positions as you.
And you got to go out and work for it. You know, you got to fight for what you want. And, you know, it's every industry is like a hungry place. So especially like my two good friends that I went to school with are both special effects makeup artists. And I don't ever feel threatened by like referring them for jobs if I can't do it or if someone else is looking for someone, because I'm like, we're all so talented. And like, you got to help out people when you can. And there's no reason that if I can't do a job, someone else shouldn't be able to. That like, that position is going to be filled. And I know that they asked me in the first place. So like, at least I'm on their mind. And if I can get my extremely talented and reliable friend a job as well, that I should be able to. And I don't know. I feel like you should be able to do favors for people also. Whenever you can give, you should give. And it will come back to you.
Like you kind of have to have like that group around you that's like willing to help you build and like give up their type of jobs type thing. I mean, that's good to definitely have like people that like your friends, for example, like that are willing to give up jobs to see you succeed and everything. You kind of just like go off of each other and just grow as people together. I think that's like a really good thing for most, like everyone, I think, has to have like that core group behind them that's motivating them, getting them jobs, everything like that, just like pushing them in the right direction. That's great that you have that already.
It's been really lovely. And like we all refer each other to jobs, and we're always looking for advice. And we're like, we'll hop on FaceTime calls and like Snapchat like messages, and we're like, hey, I have this new job coming up, like I don't know, like what would you do to like achieve this? And we're all throwing back ideas. It's nice to have that support and people who understand exactly what you're doing.
So kind of what, I guess you could go like a top 3 or just a top couple people. Who would you want to do makeup for? Like, is there any like a couple people that stand out that you're like, okay, if I had the opportunity present and like I could pick, like who would be those couple people? Like
for a movie or like on actors?
Like it's up to you. Like
I've never been asked that question before. That's a hard one. Oh, I don't know. I feel like you really got me with that one.
Yeah, because I mean, like you could split it up to be like, okay, well these, like you could do like these couple actors, and then like even say like I would want to work on these couple movies type thing. Because I guess like with movies wise, like you don't really know what's coming out, so like I guess it would be more. It just depends on how you interpret the question, like what you're thinking.
I don't know if I would have anyone specifically, because I would take any opportunity. But I do definitely want to work on European films. I know a lot of European directors are kind of crazy with their thoughts, and their scripts are insane. And a lot of the movie is like very graphic, but Human Centipede was a European film. And I feel like Americans kind of take it a little bit safe with our movies, which is not a bad thing. They're obviously a hit. We're the best in the movie business. But I'd really like to go out of the box and try some European films. Wow, any European director, I think, would be awesome.
That's definitely an interesting answer. That's not what I was expecting. I was kind of expecting like these big, like these well-known things, but European films, that's definitely an interesting like take on what you want to do in the future. Wow, I'm just kind of surprised by that answer overall. I wasn't expecting it.
With like certain actors and stuff, you kind of think it's so interesting and so cool to like be able to be in the presence of them, and they are like extremely talented and incredible, but at the same time they're regular people. So like when they're sitting down in your chair, they're just so human. I did a film like a year and a half ago, and it was a full week upstate that we were all held in a hotel, and I got the opportunity to do the makeup in my hotel room before we got to set. So I would have the actress come into my room, sit down, and it would pretty much just be me and her. And she was pretty well known. Her name was Jade. She has like over 1 million followers, has done some pretty big things. She was the biggest sweetheart. And we had so many genuine conversations and like deep conversations. And like we just talked like we were old friends,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So I never kind of looked at it as like, oh my God, there's a celebrity in my chair. It's like, this is a real person that I can have a connection with.
Yeah. Wow. So do you like every time you do someone's makeup, are you able to like talk to them, or is there some people that are like, yeah, like I just want to sit here and like focus on what I'm doing, you do what you do, or do you actually get to like make that connection with everyone?
It definitely depends on the person and the project. I totally respect and understand that some people don't want to speak, and not that they have anything against me or anyone. Is they're going to act on screen for 12 hours. That's a lot of speaking. That's a lot of emotion that like you just, and also a lot of roles you have to mentally prepare for. I did a film in January, and it was kind of like a torture film. So like my actor had earbuds in. I don't know what he was listening to, but it looked dramatic, and he was like beating himself up, you know. He was like crying and just getting into that. So like everyone has a different process. So I have been very blessed to have people that start the conversation, so I don't have to, you know, that they're very interested, and everyone's just very sweet. I've never ever had a bad experience with anyone. I think everyone just is so happy because they're doing what they love, and they want to share that, you know. They want to talk about it and what they're eating for dinner later tonight. So yeah,
I mean, it definitely seems like a cool job to do if you have patience and everything, just because you're able to like meet not even everyone will be famous, but like you're getting to meet different people and just build those connections and actually like talk to them, where a normal person wouldn't necessarily be able to be like, okay, I'm going to work, I'm going to meet this guy, this so and so. So like I just think that's like a really like unique thing that you get to do as a job, and I think it's really cool. But so outside of like your work and everything, what do you enjoy doing?
That's crazy because all I've been doing recently is work. I don't know. I just kind of enjoy life, which is such a stupid answer. But I recently have been trying to find beauty in like the small little things. Like going to the grocery store and picking up like a bag of salad that I really like. You know, because I think it's important, especially as you get a little bit older and life becomes real and you have car insurance to pay and new phones to buy. You know, you gotta kind of appreciate what you do have, which is very hard for a lot of people to do. So I love driving. Going on drives kind of relaxes me. And I think it's because I get to listen to my own music and be by myself. Love music. You know, I like, I don't know, enjoying the little things, which is such a basic answer.
I mean, that it's a good answer because it gets to like show everyone who you actually are and you actually enjoy everything, because not everyone takes time to even like think about the little things in life. Like I feel like you have to appreciate what you have on your plate currently rather than just constantly like either living in the future or even living in the past. Like you have to, sometimes it's good to just like take a break and be like, okay, well, this is what I like to enjoy. I want to do that a little bit more, everything like that. But yeah, driving, I personally don't like driving at all. Like, I mean, I drive a good bit, but it's just like one thing that I don't enjoy doing. Especially if I have like friends in the car, I feel like it's like you almost miss out on some things because like you're just focused driving, and it's just something I just don't like at all.
I'm a solo driver. I prefer driving by myself.
Yeah.
No, but like if you're driving a lot, like there's some times where I work out in the Hamptons, helping out like an old boss, and that's an hour and a half drive from me. So when I'm doing that for a couple days of the week, like I don't even want to drive to the grocery store because I'm like I'm over it. Or like driving to Jersey back and forth for a couple days for filming, I'm over it. But if there's ever a time where I can just take like a nice half hour, 45-minute drive, like sunset by the beach, you know, I enjoy that. I don't know. I think it's something. It's just so pretty. Like you just kind of get to relax, not think for a moment.
No, that makes sense. So you like traveling, I would imagine.
I do like traveling.
So where would be like, even outside of like work, like where would be like your top couple places that you would want to like travel to that you haven't been to or you actually have been to?
My top destination that has been like this for years is Cambodia, which is a crazy destination. It just looks so beautiful, and I'm in love with the trees there. It's so simple, but like they have these like mansions / houses built into the trees, like these massive trees. And I just have seen so many pictures of it, and I dream about it all the time. And I like would love to just move there, like nothing, and just make it work. It looks beautiful. But I feel like I would appreciate any kind of travel. I don't want to vacation. I want to travel. Like I want to experience other cultures and everything. So anywhere that I can learn from and experience.
So have you ever gotten into like photography or anything like on your travels, or?
I haven't really traveled out of the country, unfortunately. I went to like Canada and the Bahamas on a cruise, which I don't really count. I did just buy a camera a couple years ago, like a small little digital one, and I just acquired like an old vintage film camera that I'm like testing out to see if it works. I personally would love to. I don't think I have the eye for it, unfortunately, but I would love to get into it. It's just it's expensive too. I can't have this many expensive hobbies.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like your makeup bag. Earlier on when we were talking, you said it's like 50 pounds.
Yeah.
And I would imagine 50 pounds of makeup costs a really big, large amount. I mean, at the end of the day, like if you enjoy it, I guess there's really no price tag with
Absolutely. It. And like, I have to just kind of remind myself that a lot of the products that I do have, I'm not just getting for jobs, I'm getting them for myself. You know, because I want to see how it works. I want to know how it works, and I want to try it. So like, there's so many times where I'm just like adding a bunch of random prosthetics to my cart, like, because this is so cool. It's like, do I need it? Do I have something to use it for? No, but it's really cool looking, and I would love to use it. So, you know, it's definitely a splurge.
So like, kind of with your job and everything, is social media like a big part of what you do, or is it kind of like a word to mouth type thing with the getting jobs and everything?
I think it's definitely a bit of both. I personally am not that great at social media for myself. It's very hard to take photos while on set of my work to like update my social media. So like, I do have an Instagram account. I don't have a lot of followers on it. I don't post as much as I should. I also have a website, but I also have an IMDb page, like listing a couple of my credits, which does help. But like on my website, I have all my contact information, and there are a few other platforms where you can get jobs from. So like, 2 of the main ones I'm on is Backstage, and it's for like all actors and crew members, and then the other one is Nova, which is also like anyone posting a job for specific roles, which you have to have link work to for that anyway. But I feel like more recently, within like the past year and a half, it's been a lot of word of mouth of people referring me, which is awesome. So
is social media kind of something you would want to get into, or you kind of like you don't necessarily want to?
I definitely don't want to, but I have to. I know I do have to, so I will. It's a little bit hard because I personally, for me, like, see my social media as something for myself and not for other people. Like on my personal Instagram account, I'm posting things that I want to see. So like, it's hard trying to change that mindset, because I do have a separate makeup page, but I know I have to post other things and I don't know. I do have to work on it.
Yeah. I mean, because I'm kind of in like the same boat where like, yeah, all of our stuff goes on social media, everything like that. But I'm kind of on the fence about even participating in like social media type stuff. Because like I do a lot of like I'm trying to think, like promoting on my own social media. And like I enjoy podcasts, I enjoy meeting people, everything like that, like making content, everything like that. But I just think that for me personally, social media is something that I try to necessarily stay away from, because I just think there's so many more like negatives rather than positives. Like I just find myself like scrolling so much, trying to find like another idea, everything like that. And I just think it's definitely affected our society and everything. And like, yeah, there's been a lot of people that get like that 10 seconds of fame, or like their whole lives are based off social media. And I think it's great for them. Like, congrats to them for finding what worked for them, and they're growing, making money, everything like that. But I think for me, something that's just like, it's just something I'm not necessarily like super excited about. Like I get excited filming podcasts. Like I film, like we're working on like vlogs, pranks, everything like that. I get excited about that. But it's just like, I kind of want to like take a break. And like normally for me, like taking a break would be scrolling on TikTok or Instagram. So I just find myself super involved with Instagram rather than like being outside and enjoying like nature, everything like that. So I just think there's a lot more like negatives than positives. I don't know if you agree or... disagree.
Oh, I definitely do feel like that. Personally, for me, like, I think my, like, I don't know, it's hard because I have to show for my work, you know, so I do have to have photos up there, but I don't think I personally have to be posting every day or like super consistently. As long as I'm updating like what I have and what I've done and what I can do, then I think that's okay for my industry. But I also try and limit it a little bit. Like, I will just choose a day or two of the week and be like, okay, today I know I need to go on my website and like do all this and get it all done with and like post a bunch of Instagram updates and call it. I try not to do a little bit every day because then I get overwhelmed and I'm thinking about it. And then like I know, dang it, like I have to do it again tomorrow and the next day and the next day. So like there is no break. And it sometimes it does get hard to enjoy if you are doing it every day and seeing it as like just something that you have to do and not something that you want to do.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like we're both kind of in like the similar things where like we need social media to progress
Absolutely.
with our careers and everything like that. But it's, I don't know. I just like, there's sometimes I just sit there and think like, wow, like I love what I'm doing, but at the same time, like I don't like social media.
Absolutely.
And it's just so, because like you see all like this negative stuff and it's just like it's definitely worth it to post and like promote like brands, everything like that. But it's just, there's just so much on social media that's so negative, and it's just like something I can't get away from at the same time.
Yeah, and it's like our break, like our personal time is also just going on social media and scrolling. I find myself stuck in that loop. I'll like finally be home from work or something and I'll be like, okay, I need a couple minutes to myself, and I'm scrolling on TikTok. I'm like, that's not moments to myself. You know, I'm just trying to not think and just watch videos.
Yeah, I mean, social media is pretty much everywhere nowadays. And it's like, you can't really escape it. You need some sort of, I feel like, you don't necessarily need social media in life, but like, I feel like you're kind of out of the loop if you're not on social media platforms. Well,
you need an online presence to be like of any worth. Yeah. You know, and to be trustworthy. Like I would never meet up with a director that had zero social medias, or you know, because it's
a little sketchy type thing.
Yeah, because how do you not in this day and age? You can't have nothing about you on the internet. You know, which also is a terrible thing because sometimes there's too much on the internet. You know, so I don't know. I feel like there could be such a healthy balance, but there never will be. I think we're a little too far gone.
Oh yeah, I definitely think everyone's like really addicted with social media, and it's sometimes like I said, like negative. Like people are like attention spans are going down. I feel like social media has played a big part in that, where people are watching it so much that they're getting bored, and it's like, in order to succeed, like sometimes you have to post that little like 10-second clip just to keep someone's interest for those 10 seconds.
Yeah, and like all those videos of like someone talking and like Subway servers at the bottom. Like people, it's progressing so much and so fast, and it's so easily accessible to like everyone. You know, kids now are having iPhones and iPads and like I got my first iPhone when I was pretty young. I was in like 6th or 7th grade, which is crazy to think about now. Is like I had the world in my hands in elementary school. Yeah. Which I mean is a great thing and a terrible thing at the same time. And there's no way to balance out the great and the bad.
Yeah. I think like definitely looking into the future, like if I were to have like kids, like they're not getting phones till at least like the latest maybe like freshman year of high school.
Yeah, and you know what? Because like I wasn't supposed to have a phone in elementary school, but I had a big group of friends, and I was always going out. So I started out with a flip phone, like the slide, and I loved that thing. And I totally I have no problem with that because you can get in contact with who you need. Like I was constantly like texting my parents, being like going to get pizza with my friends, and I think, especially it's sad to say, but in this day and age, you need to have that way of contact with. You know, anyone that you need.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of out there. Like I'm on pretty much all the platforms, and like I use Snapchat. And if I feel like if I didn't use Snapchat, I would be like further away from my friends, because that's just how it seems like everyone communicates now. Like I'm not big on iMessage, but like I feel like I'd rather be texting someone on iMessage rather than being on Snapchat. But like a lot of people don't use iMessage as much, and it's just another social media platform to have Snapchat, where I find so much of my time on Snapchat now just like looking at what people are doing and like texting people, everything like that. And I think it's consumed a lot of time as well. So I think that's like a negative for me.
It's also like I've noticed with those types of social media like Instagram and Snapchat that the more you go on it is the older that you get, especially graduating high school and graduating college and being in that like time period, because you're not with any of your old friends anymore. You know, like when all of my friends went away for college, my friend group has been best friends since 1st and 5th grade. There's like 12 of us, and I was the only person that stayed home.
Wow.
So like it was my entire life. So it was easy to keep in contact with them through photos and videos, and Snapchat was a great way because we're all terrible texters. And like, especially people that like graduated that you went to school with or like never really spoke to, you can see what they're doing because they're posting it for everyone back home. You know, so I don't know. I think it's a way of just letting people know that you're alive and you're doing things.
Yeah, you're kind of like out of the loop if you don't have these social media platforms.
Yeah.
Thing. So I guess like kind of switching it up. I know when me and Tyler do this, like we used to talk about relationships, everything like that. I kind of want to, because like I see you and Xander like pretty healthy relationship. What like has been like the key to that? Because like you guys are long distances. There been like things that you guys do every day that like kind of keeps that healthy relationship status?
Personally, I think the biggest thing is our communication. I know a lot of people that need constant communication for relationships. Like it's a constant text battle back and forth. And while I understand that to an extent, it gets very repetitive and it feels like you're only texting them because you need to and not because you want to. So, and I think we're both such busy people that if he doesn't answer me in 5 hours, it's because he's doing something. Yeah. You know, if I don't answer him in 6 hours, it's because I'm doing something. So like there's no problem with like, if I'm waiting for a response from him, I can text him again after like 3 hours and be like, hey, just wanted to like keep updated. But you know, I'm never getting mad or upset with him for being busy, and neither is he for me. Yeah. So I think it's respect and understanding that like we have our own lives and we're both busy and have responsibilities to take care of. Yeah. So I think that's a huge thing.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think like just being able to communicate, I think that's a lot. Like people nowadays, it's kind of hard for them to communicate and everything like that. And you see so many like failed relationships are just based off communication. And that's like the biggest thing. Now, I mean, I've never been in a relationship, so like I'm not the perfect person to talk to about it. But like I feel like I understand relationships like more sometimes than people that are actually in them. Because like I see all these like childish like relationships where like you don't get a response back in like 30 minutes and they're already getting mad.
Yeah, or they took 30 minutes to respond, so you also have to. I think that's crazy. But I do think that like I'm always better at giving relationship advice to other people and I can't listen to it myself because you don't want to believe it for your own relationship, you know? So like you see these people and they're like, oh, like should I break up with my boyfriend? I'm like, yeah, obviously. But it's not that easy when you're in that position. Yeah. So I think relationships are hard, and especially like being long distance, it has its pros and cons. Not as many pros, honestly, kind of sucks. But, you know, you have to make it work. And especially if you love the person, it's so worth it. And the time that you do get to spend together is so special, and like you appreciate it more because, you know, it's not like you're just hanging out every day for a couple of hours doing nothing, laying in bed. Like you want to plan things. You want to plan a date or play a video game or do something together because you have limited time together.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I think like, I know a lot of people say like long distance sucks, everything like that. I get it. But I think I'm also the type of person that I wouldn't necessarily mind long distance, only because I'm just not the type of person to sit there every single day with the same person just laying around and everything. Like I'd rather have where I'm hanging out with them like once or twice a week. We're doing something special, like you're making a memory, everything like that, rather than just sitting there constantly like in their presence. Because it's kind of like, I wouldn't say pointless, but like it's also kind of a waste of time. Or if you're just sitting there like not doing anything, like you're both scrolling on your phones, everything, it's kind of like, well, you could be out doing this, or you could be out hanging with friends. And like it's just something that I have like kind of thought about a lot recently, is just like long distance to me really doesn't seem as bad because of the fact that I no, I wouldn't be able to hang out with the same person every day.
You know what? I totally felt that way before this relationship. And I think it's because I'm personally a very independent person. I like my alone time and not having to respond to someone or owe anyone anything. But that has definitely changed. And I think it's because of being in a relationship that I enjoy. It's healthy. We love each other. So it's like, I don't see it as a waste of time if we're just scrolling together. And I was telling Xander this, that like when I'm with him, I feel like I'm alone, but not in a bad way. In a way that like I feel like I can just scroll on my phone and be there for a moment and not have to worry about. We could sit next to each other for like 7 hours and not talk, or like just do chores together. I know right before he came here, I was helping him pack for school. You know, I was like just getting things done, and like he'll come with me to the store if I need to go. It's to me, I don't think it's like a waste or having someone just tagging along. I think it's just getting to share an experience with someone that I definitely didn't have that view before this relationship. I was not really a big relationship person, but it takes the right person to change that for you.
So was it like hard at the beginning? Because you guys started like your relationship like together and everything. Was it hard to adjust to not seeing him every day?
Yes and no. I've known him for so long that like I feel like if we started our relationship, like if we just met each other and just started while he was going to school, it would be a lot more difficult. But I think what makes it easier is that he is only 3 hours away. So like when I do have a free weekend, I can make a trip, or he can make a trip, and we can make it work. But it is definitely difficult. But you know, you just sometimes it's worth it. Yeah. And it's definitely worth it. You just got to make it work.
Yeah, as long as you find that like right person that you truly want to be with and everything, I feel like even if you see them for like an hour every month, like I feel like that hour is more special than anything else.
Absolutely.
As long as it's the right person. But so my one question is, who like has there been anyone that's like really inspired you to like get into makeup, or like has there been like an inspiration you looked up to, like, wow, I want to be like them type thing in like the makeup industry?
Honestly, no. I personally didn't really know any specific makeup artists growing up, because I didn't really know like where to look. And it's now it's a little bit more easy and mainstream to like figure out like special effects and like learn and everything. But I feel like when I was growing up and like learning about this myself, I didn't really know too much, especially about like the people doing the movies. I also am not a big movie fan in general, which is crazy because I want to work on movies.
That's true.
I'm a terrible movie watcher, but I feel like I didn't ever really look up to a specific makeup artist. I definitely looked up to my family. I have 2 older sisters, younger brother, and my parents, and even all my friends have just been so supportive. And like I feel like especially a lot of parents kind of push their kids towards college. And I remember this so vividly. I was like 11th grade. I was crying in my room like alone on my bed. And my dad came in and he was like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "I feel like I'm making a mistake. Like I didn't even take an SAT. Like I'm not going to college." And like I know it's right for me, but it feels like a mistake because everyone around me was doing it. And he like sat down on my bed. He was like, "Do not go to college. You know, it will be a waste for you.
Yeah, it'll
be 4 years that's setting you back from what you can do. Like you can get this done in 7 months and then go straight to your career, and it will bring you closer to where you need to go." He's like, "If you want to go to college, do it, but don't do it because everyone else is doing it. Like you can always go back if you want, but you might as well just get a head start and do it." And that definitely stuck with me. And like he always is asking me, like, you know, he's telling me he's proud of me and is asking me like, do I think it's worth it? Do I see myself going far with it? And I think it is important to have those conversations with someone. And he is very supportive, but he's also realistic. He's like, "All right, you shouldn't take that job because it'll cost you money." And I'm like, "I know."
Yeah.
So I think I would definitely say my family and friends have really inspired me because they're the ones pushing me to do it.
Yeah, I think it's like really good to have like your family that are supporting you and everything, because I know a lot of people like right out of high school, like their parents are pushing them towards college.
Absolutely.
Like, and I think a lot of people should go to college, but I also think like you should go into college with like a future goal of what you want to do. Like I feel like at the end of the day, if you're going into college, like you don't know what you want to do, like you come out of it and you don't know what you want to do, I feel like it's a waste of time and money where you spent that whole time going to classes, everything like that. You got a major, everything, and then you're like, oh wow, like I still don't know what I want to do, and that's perfectly fine if you're coming out of college and everything, not knowing what you want to do. But I feel like almost like parents are so like pushy when it comes to like college and their kids going to college, and it's good and it works for a lot of people. But I think there also should be like parents like your dad that should be like understanding where, okay, well, if you want to do this and it doesn't require you to go to a 4-year college or anything like that, I feel like they should be a lot more like motivating for you. And I mean, even my parents, like, I was unsure necessarily if I wanted to go to college. I knew I wanted to continue to play baseball, so that was like the main factor of coming here. But like my parents were more, they were supportive in what I wanted to do and everything. And there was a time where like I was like, yeah, man, maybe I don't want to go to college. Like I want to just get a job right off the bat. And a lot of my friends, like a lot of people in my close friend group, they are out working now. And it's like, was college really, like sometimes I even debate it every day. Like I'll sit there and be like, is college really what I want to do? Like, can I just go work now where I'm making money, everything like that? But I think for me, yeah, parents have been like a totally like a motivation, like people that are close to me that are motivating me to do everything I want to do. And I mean, obviously they don't know much about social media, so they watch my podcast, everything like that. They're motivating, but I can guarantee they have no clue even how to work any of it. So it's like getting that type of thing where because like they grew up in a different age where they didn't have social media. They weren't scrolling online, everything like that. So I guess it's kind of like different for them to adjust. And I think that's why so many parents are pushing kids towards college. And it's good and bad.
Like I personally think it's crazy that kids are expected to know exactly what they want to do with their lives, one, out of high school, but even after college. You're 22 by the time you graduate, 21, 22.
Yeah.
Or 18 from high school. That you just started your life. You know, this is the first time in your life that you are not in school every day, that like you can enjoy yourself and do something. So like I think it's mind-boggling to me that anyone is expected to know what they want to spend the rest of their life doing. But I think it's awesome that your parents are supportive of something that they don't understand, because it's a crazy concept, like being an influencer, or like doing podcasts, or even just social media in general. So I have a hard time like just thinking about it, because it's a lot of work, and it's, in the end, it's entertainment. You're entertaining people, and I'm sure you ask yourself, like, do people enjoy this, and like what would they enjoy? Like, that's crazy. It's just like a whole crazy thing, and I think it's awesome that your parents support that and at least try to understand. You know, that's huge, and a lot of people don't have that. So it's definitely something to appreciate.
Because it's, I mean, definitely, like, there could be one day where like TikTok gets banned. Right there, it's like one of the main things that we post on. So it's like, they're in the social media world and everything. There's not always like promise of
there's
like
no
compensation,
guarantee.
everything like that. No, but yeah, I mean, it's crazy sometimes just to think about like what I want to do in life. Like, I mean, I enjoy this. This would be a great job for the future, just having to worry about this type of stuff. Will it happen? I mean, I have a lot of confidence it will, but at the end of the day, I feel like you always have to have a backup plan.
I disagree with that.
You don't think there should be a backup plan?
I think you should know of other things that you can do. But for me, I never had like a real backup plan, because if you have something that you can fall back on, you're not trying as hard for what you want. So I told myself, like, I'll give this 5-10 years of like makeup and giving it everything that I have. I'll eat a can of beans every day if it means, you know, I can afford my makeup supplies. But after that, then I'll figure it out. Because if I have something to fall back on, like, it's a safety net. You know, I don't mind letting go. And I don't think if it's something that I truly want to do and I want to achieve and succeed in, why would I give myself so much wiggle room?
That is true. Yeah. No, I mean, something that me and Tyler say a lot on here is like, we had solid posts and we reference it a lot on our podcast, but it's the truth. It's like, if you're going for something and like you give it all you got and like you succeed, like, great. If you don't succeed, you're just like everyone else where you're working. Like, your backup plan is technically like the 9-to-5 job where everyone does it. So it's like, why not take that extra step and just do what you think you want to do, like, and worst comes to worst, you're just like everyone else where they're working like the simple 9 to 5 job where not many people like it, but you're in the end you're going to be the same level with a lot of people.
Absolutely. And you're going to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that you're not going to succeed in any portion of your life.
Yeah.
You just have to make it work. But to not strive and go for something that you really want to do is going to be a huge regret.
Mm-hmm.
And like, especially for me, I knew that like there was a time where I was thinking like maybe I should go to college. I'm like, I would so regret not giving this my everything right now. Because especially when you're young, you don't have any real responsibilities. Like you're probably still living with your parents when you're out of school. Like you're not paying rent. You're not paying, you have a little bit of time to like focus on yourself. And I feel the same way. I'm still living at home, which I'm very grateful for. Planning on moving out, but like I have, I have that opportunity to like give it everything I got because I have everything that I need right now.
Yeah. I just feel like people overlook the fact that we're still really young. We have a ton of our life ahead of us.
Absolutely.
And it's definitely something that I think people need to take into account when they're coming out of college or out of high school and everything with their jobs. Like, you can think you want to do this one day, and then the next day you're like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. You have that kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? You kind of have like that, I don't even know what the word I'm looking for is. It's like you have so many different options that you can do, and you have so much time to be able to get where you want. So striving for like a goal that you have is like pretty much what you need to do young. Like you have so much like leniency from people that like if you want to do this, you strive for it, you give it your all, it doesn't work out, okay, then you have something else like you can fall back onto like a normal thing. But like you strive, you give it your all, and it works out. At some point you're gonna get to where you want to be, and I truly believe that like you give it your all, you're at some point gonna get either to the full form of what you like your goal, or like you'll get like bits and pieces of it, but you're gonna succeed at some point if you give it what it needs.
Especially if you don't wait. Like I feel like waiting until like the right time is crazy, because if I just went to college and then worked like a regular job to make like a decent amount of money and decided at 30 years old, like I really, really want to pursue my makeup career, then at that point, like I'm paying for a rent and I'm maybe trying to have a family and getting married and having kids. For that to all happen while I'm trying to like start and succeed in my career is risky. Because like, especially in my career, it's the money isn't there yet. So if I started later, there's a lot more risk than there is right now. I'm young. I can afford to lose a couple $1,000s. And, the money will catch up to me and I'll get back on my feet. Yeah,
that's kind of how I look at it. Like, I can go spend money on like hanging out with my friends, and like I'm not gonna think twice of it because I'm making that memory. Because I know in the end I have so much time to make that money back. Like, and it's kind of scary for some people, like where they're living, like they don't want to necessarily spend money on making memories. But I think of it as like, you spend that money now, you're making the memory that you're going to remember for a while, and you can go back to work and make it all back. Like, I just think it's, again, back to the small things. Like, you really have to, like, making memories is important. Like, having friends, everything like that. You do, like, stuff with them. Like, I feel like it's so important to live in the moment and do what you think is going to be fun and memorable throughout your life. And at the end of the day, you're going to make money. You can find ways to make money, and yeah, it could cost like a couple $100, but in the moment you're going to enjoy it, and you're going to think back like, oh wow, I'm glad I did that, because then you just go right back and make the money all back. And I just think it's like a perfect little like circle type thing.
Absolutely. And like I kind of just did that the last 2 weeks. I've been working my ass off every day because I knew that I would be needing to get myself a new phone, and then I was having a trip this weekend with my friends. So I'm like, I'm going to work my ass off doing these things and doing all these jobs, because I know I need to take this time off to go enjoy myself. And like, I'm not going to worry about having to work for a couple of days because I'm going to do something that I want to do. And like, you need that break, but you also need something to work for. So like, I would not have worked as much if I didn't have so many things coming up, but I'm glad I did. And I think it's definitely a healthy balance in like knowing when to give in and like be like, all right, I don't mind taking a couple days off of work to go do this, or you know, or picking up a few extra shifts because I really need to do this, or I really want to do this. I think it's definitely something. It's also hard. Like, it took me a while to like get to that point because money is scary, and everything relies on it, which is a terrible, scary concept as you get older. And like recently, like, you know, car insurance and everything, it is a lot, but you do have to just remember to enjoy yourself and I don't know, take it all in.
Yeah, because in the end, like, when you die, the money that you have just goes to like your kids and everything, but like, you earn the money, why not enjoy it while you're still living?
Absolutely.
And everything. So,
and what's the point of living if you're not living? If you're just working or just doing things to get them done, that's not a life. You know, there's so many beautiful small little things to enjoy that I think are overlooked so often.
Yeah.
I don't know, like getting to make pancakes in the morning for breakfast.
Yeah.
Personally, don't really like pancakes, but I could do it if I wanted to.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely like just like the simple the simple tasks and everything. It's so, you just really have to take time and think. Like, it's crazy how much of an effect even just making pancakes has on like life and everything.
Yeah, we fed goats today.
Wow.
And I was like crying with excitement. They were so cute, and like that was enough for like my entire week to be made. I saw a bunch of cute goats.
Yeah, just a little thing like that makes your whole week. Yeah. So kind of to wrap it up, do you have any questions for me?
I have so many questions for you.
Go ahead, I have time.
So like, do you see yourself playing baseball out of college? Like, do you want to pursue that, or if you had the opportunity to pursue it, would you?
So I mean, I've definitely thought about it. I think it would be super cool to do, like, live that lifestyle. I think if I had the opportunity, I probably would take it, even though it's kind of like you start off with not making that much money unless you're like a really high draft pick and everything like that. I think it would be definitely something I would want to do, even like if it's independent ball or anything like that. I think it would be something I'd strive for a while, and if like it doesn't work, then I just go work a normal job. So I think it definitely is something that I would love to do. Whether or not it happens, like, only time will tell, but it's something I definitely could see myself doing if the opportunity like came up and everything.
And you're a pitcher?
Yeah.
When did you start playing baseball?
Like, when I was young. Like, I don't know exactly. It would have been like
T-ball?
Like, yeah, like I started all the way back then. That was pretty much the only sport I played. I mean, I played basketball a little bit. I always wanted to play football, but baseball was just like the one thing that kind of stuck. And like, even now, like, it's the one thing that I really enjoy. It like makes my day better, even if it gets hard. Like, just being able to go hang out with like my teammates in practice and everything. It's just enjoying the little things in baseball that just make it so much more enjoyable and everything. But yeah, I mean, it's been a while. I'm 20 now. I think probably since I was like 4 or something like that.
That's
I don't
crazy.
know exactly when you start playing like T-ball and everything. I know I started earlier than like some people started, but it's definitely been fun the last however many years it's been. Very, very interesting. I made a lot of good memories, a lot of great friends, everything like that. And I think it's just baseball's really shaped my life to help me succeed further in whatever I choose to do.
That's awesome. I was never a sport person growing up, but I've always respected and was jealous of people that were and that like actually put some effort into it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's a great way to build relationships with people, you know, because it's the one small thing that you have in common that you can, especially it's something that you can do with someone and enjoy. It's like your buddies are all baseball players.
Yeah.
You know, if you guys are ever bored, be like, want to go throw a ball around? You know, it's an easy thing. Yeah,
and I think it just like sports get kind of overlooked by some people that don't play it because you do learn a lot of valuable lessons from
it.
Like time management's one big thing that I've learned, motivation, everything like that. Like you learn a lot of like life advice through coaches and just through all the experiences and everything. And I just think I encourage everyone to at least try some sort of sport. At like the beginning, you don't like it, okay, then you move on. But I just think it's taught me a lot of life lessons that have made my life better overall.
That's really awesome. I feel like I don't often hear people speak like that about their sport. And I think it's refreshing to hear that. You know, everyone's always like, oh, baseball. I like
I love baseball. Even though there's some times where I'm like, man, I wish I could just quit. It's just like at the end of the day, like I just love it too much to even like quit and like give up. So yeah.
That's awesome though. It's good that you have that one thing that you like really, really enjoy doing with your time. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. Any more questions?
What are you majoring in?
Accounting.
Oh, okay. I just didn't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not a boring major, but like for me, I like money, I like numbers, so I figured accountants make a good paycheck right out of college. It's like, and I mean, from what like a lot of people I've talked to that are in the field, like people don't want to do it anymore, so the wages keep going up, and I like money, so why not give it a shot? And it so far I've enjoyed it, and I've definitely think it would be something I'd really like to do in the future.
All right.
If like baseball and the podcast and stuff doesn't work out, I guess that would be my backup plan is accounting.
Okay. And you know what? That's a good one because you have your foot in the door with that.
Yeah.
So I think that's awesome. I know a lot of people that like don't really care too much about school and like and college and everything. They just kind of pick whatever major and they're like, I don't really know what I want to do. But their major is like criminal justice. I'm like, well, that's a very specific major. Like, if you don't know what you want to do, that's, I feel like your best bet would doing something like business or something. But the fact that you have an idea of something that you would do and you're pursuing that, I think is really awesome.
Yeah, I never even knew what like I think it was like senior year. I didn't really know exactly what accounting was. Me and my buddy Tyler, we were talking about like, oh, like this is something we could do, and like we had so many ideas to do this and build as like a team almost, like go to college, be accountants together. And I think that's right where I decided like accounting it is. I didn't know what it was at first. And I like started researching. I was like, okay, this is pretty interesting. So I guess I kind of based it off of wanting to build like be accountants together with Tyler that like just kind of formed what I am now and like what I major in college now. And I am so glad I picked accounting because you can do so much with that type of major, and it's cool to think about all the opportunities I have outside of college with being able to do all of that. Yeah,
that's awesome. I'm happy for you. I'm glad that you're enjoying it.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Is there any other questions?
I can't think of any right now. I feel like I just had so many.
No, I mean, I think we covered a lot in this. I think it was a very good pod. Obviously, like I knew like the basics about you and everything just from you visiting every once in a while, but I feel like we kind of covered a lot of specific topics and everything, and you answered all my questions pretty good, like well spoken, everything. So yeah, I mean,
well, thank you.
It was good.
I was a little nervous. I'm not a big speaker.
I know you were telling me before you were really nervous, and I was like, oh well, that kind of stinks in the end, but yeah. So this was another Out of the Park podcast. I want to thank Stevie for coming on. We learned a lot about makeup, which I never really knew what actually goes into it. But yeah, I just want to thank you for coming on. And
absolutely.
Yeah, I had a great time learning and everything, and got to keep going on with your career.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This was an absolute pleasure. I had a great time.
We'll see you on the next video.
See you on the next video.